Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are doing a full face of RMS Beauty, a brand I haven't talked about a ton, but I wanted to revisit it, let you guys know my thoughts on it. Before we start, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and be sure to give this video a thumbs up if you enjoy it at any point. But let's go ahead and get started. Before we hop into the makeup, you guys may have noticed these jewelry pieces that I've been wearing in almost every single video since I got them, and they're today's sponsor. It's a sustainable jewelry brand called Ana Luisa. They make some gorgeous pieces. I'm especially excited to be working with them today because they are a sustainable jewelry brand. They use 100% recycled gold and silver in their products. So when you buy a piece from them, it is 100% recycled gold and silver, which I think is so cool. I've been really into jewelry lately because I feel like even just simple pieces, I wear a lot of basic colors. They really just spice up an outfit, and I feel like every time I have a necklace or earrings on, even with a super basic outfit, like I just always feel so much more put together. If you guys have ever purchased like cheaper jewelry, you probably know what I'm talking about. It doesn't last very long at all. I've had some pieces that like literally within a couple days of wearing them, they're like unusable, which I think is really wasteful. So I think it's so important to buy from sustainable jewelry brands like Ana Luisa. Jewelry does come packaged in this cute little box. With each piece you do get a little bag to keep them safe if you did want to travel with them, so I think that's a really cute addition. And then I have 3 pieces I'm going to share with you guys. First up are these, which are the Sally earrings. They have these really cool like chain detail on them. A really pretty statement earring while still being minimal and not too in your face. So I think these were just so stunning. When I saw them in person, I could not wait to put them on. And then the earrings I have on now, which I've been wearing basically every single day. If you look at my past like probably couple weeks of videos, like I always have these on. They're just such a simple little staple piece. They're the perfect size. Just, I love wearing hoops, but sometimes I don't always want a big hoop. So I think the size is just really flattering and beautiful. These are called the Venus hoops, which by the way, these are $59. And then these Sally earrings are also $59. So this brand has amazing quality, but they also have fair prices. Price ranges from $49 to higher end pieces. So you can get some great jewelry starting at $49, but they also have some bigger investment pieces. And then last but not least, again, something I've been wearing all the time is the Good Luck necklace. I picked out these pieces because I wanted something very simple that could go with everything, and they have really stood up to that because I've been wearing them non-stop. I think they go with absolutely everything because they are simple, but they're still very pretty. They are also getting a buy one get one 35% off sale at the moment for Mother's Day. Now would be a great time to shop if you wanted to get something as a gift or something for yourself, or both. So I will have them linked in the description below if you want to shop the sale. Go ahead and check the description box below. I am really amazed with the quality of these pieces so far, and they've definitely become a staple in my jewelry collection. Every time I open up my jewelry drawer, they're always what I reach for. Additionally, if you did want to get a single piece, you can use my code Lindsey10 for 10% off. I'll have that link below. So thank you to Ana Luisa again for sponsoring this portion of the video, but let's go ahead and get started on the makeup. RMS Beauty Uncover Up Cream Foundation. I did review this when it first came out. Wasn't my favorite foundation. It didn't wear well on me, and it's just overall a very heavy foundation. But I thought I would give it another shot. This is the shade 11. This is like a really thick cream formula, so I'm just gonna warm it up, apply it onto my face. Like I mentioned, it is really thick as well. It does have a lot of pigment in it. And I also have the RMS, it's the 30F brush, which I don't like. The first time I used it, I didn't really understand it. But I guess we'll try it again. It has like these indents in it, which I'm not sure what the point of those are. Yeah, I feel like it doesn't really, maybe for a bronzer or blush or something. It's just like a really stiff brush. So I'm just gonna switch to a Real Techniques brush to get this blended out. So as you can tell, it is a pretty full coverage foundation, and it's not initially like as dewy as you would think it would be. I think it does get pretty dewy throughout the day though. I'm gonna do the same on this side of my face. It does have like a bit of a smell to it. I don't really know how to describe it. It's not like it doesn't smell like a fragrance in there. It just smells like weird natural makeup. Although this is like an oil-based cream, I still like to use a sponge with it because I feel like it really sticks like into your pores and over texture. So I think the sponge helps a lot with that, but still, I feel like it just doesn't like sink in the skin as nicely as I would like it to. Hermes does also make the Uncover Up, like the small one, which is their original concealer. But then since this is like a similar formula, I'm just gonna use it as my concealer today. I have tried a sample of the Uncover Up concealer and I wasn't a huge fan. I feel like oily formulas, I have a lot of problems with creasing. So they just like inherently don't work on my under eyes, but let's try this one. I don't think I've ever used this as a concealer. All right, so it's not looking half bad. I do like the coverage that this gives, but again, I feel like it sticks over a texture and sort of sinks into pores at the same time, which is never something that I'm going for, but again, giving this another shot. Next is the RMS Unpowder. They have both a tinted and untinted version of this. I have the untinted version. This is just a silica and mica powder, so very simple ingredients. I do like silica-based powders. It's sort of like a HD powder where it can give you flashback and be a bit drying. So the key with this is to use less of it. So we're gonna go ahead and I'm just gonna set the under eyes for now. And you do get like a little puff with this, but I'm not gonna use that. Making sure that all the creases are out because it is like an oil formula. So it has already creased under my eyes before I set. I just wanna make sure everything's smooth. So I just have like a tiny bit on my brush here. I'm not going to take it down too far because we're using a cream highlight. I'm just repeating that same process under this eye. It is really mattifying, this powder, and you guys know I'm really picky with powders. I don't mind it because I feel like it actually looks pretty good. Again, if you use too much, it can look a little bit weird. And I also notice it almost like deepens up my under eyes. You could probably tell on camera. Moving on, RMS does sell the Baruti bronzer, and I think they have a contour bronze as well. I've tried samples of those. Not my favorite, so I don't have the full size. I'm gonna use the Kosas. This is the light baked bronzer that I just reviewed. If you guys missed that, that was my latest video comparing this to the Ilia new bronzer and highlight. I'm just using this bronzer on my face. I will say though, with this foundation, I feel like I don't have any troubles with putting powders directly on top of it without setting first, which is kind of weird because it's such a like oil-based formula. Maybe it's just this bronzer, I don't know, but works pretty well. If you guys are curious about my Sephora sale recommendations, that video will be out this week. I'll be talking about makeup. I'll do skincare and hair care as well because I feel like I have so many recommendations I want to share with you guys. So keep an eye out for that. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss it. For blush, I have one of their pressed blushes. This is the shade Lost Angel, which is just that classic coral shade with a bit of a golden sheen through it. It's a very subtle sheen though. It does have some chunkier like particles in there, but it's not too crazy, and it's also not a really pigmented blush. It almost has like this drier formula, which is interesting. I do like the little clear packaging. So I'm just gonna grab my blush brush here. Start this on the backs of my cheekbones. Not really sure why I got this shade because they're not my favorite on my skin, but I feel like this one isn't too coral. It is a pretty pink blush still. I do actually really enjoy this blush. I think the shimmer in it doesn't like cling to texture or emphasize my texture, which is always like my biggest concern with shimmery products. And I think the shade is pretty, very summery. This is probably like one of my favorites of the brand so far. Next up, I have the classic RMS Beauty Living Luminizer. And I'm just going to apply this with my fingers. And that's also why I didn't set this part of my face because I knew we were gonna be using this cream, which it's a pretty subtle highlight. I mean, I feel like you really have to build it up if you want sort of a metallic-ish finish. It's more of just like a dewy glow to the cheek. If you like really natural highlights, I think you would like this one. But personally for me, it's not something I reach for a ton. Like it almost just like sinks right into the cheeks. It's definitely not a very obvious type of highlight. It is just more of that dewy look. Do you enjoy how this doesn't like pick up on powder or sort of move around the foundation? I think that this and like the foundation, they do work well together because they're both that oily cream formula. I think if you tried to put this over like a matte foundation, it might look a little bit different. But with the products we used so far, I think it looks nice. So I went ahead and did my brows since I did not have an RMS brow product, but we do have one of their Swift shadows here. This is the shade Tempting Touch. That was actually in this month's Petit Four box, which was super cool. They retail for $20 each, and the Petit Four box is $18 a month. You guys know I love Petit Four. I've talked about them so much. You also get like a sunscreen, a deodorant, and a face oil duo. So yeah, I thought it was cool that came in this month's Petit Four box. I will link it below if you guys wanted to get this. I think you could still get it for a couple weeks. I also do have a Petit Four discount code. It's first box to get 25% off your first box if you guys aren't already subscribers. But I think I'm gonna do like a similar type of fox eye look to what I did in my fox eye look video with this brown shade. Since this is the only eyeshadow shade I have, we might pull in some other products as well. I'm taking a little bit of a angled brush and I'm going to dip into the shadow. My swatches didn't seem super pigmented. And I'm just gonna do this almost like a wing. I'm not gonna bring it all the way in though. Just that much. I said that was not pigmented, but when I put some on my brush, it definitely had a lot of color payoff. I'm just taking whatever's left on the brush and then just slowly blending it in. That shade, that's so pretty. I've been wanting to try their cream shadows. I was thinking of getting them from the Sephora sale. If you guys have tried those, let me know what your favorite shades are, if you like the formula. I'm just gonna go ahead and do the same thing on this eye. I'm dipping back into that same shade and I'm just gonna deepen up the lash line and sort of like do a wing. Alright, I'm really liking where this is going. I'm taking the same shade again. I'm probably just going to do the very outer corner of my lower lash line. For our lid shade today, I'm going to use the Living Luminizer again on my finger for sort of a glossy lid look. So since we don't have a lot of shadows to play with, I just thought I would incorporate this. I'm just keeping this on the inner half of the eye where we didn't put that brown shadow, and I'm overlapping it a little bit, but just mainly focusing it there. I do feel like I still want a little something more on the lid, so I'm going to bring in the Bodyography Glitter Pigment in Prism, which is like one of my favorite shades. These are so gorgeous. You can grab them on Amazon. It's like this duochrome brown green. It's just it's so stunning. Just wait until I put it on. But since we do have that like Living Luminizer base, it's gonna stick really well. So I'm going to start this in the middle of my lid and then putting it in the same region as the Living Luminizer. I feel like having that as a base almost helps it blend out more. It's kind of cool. It creates just this really glossy look. Alright guys, here's our finished look. I went ahead and finished up the eyes and the lips because I didn't have any lip products from RMS either. But let me go ahead and just wrap up my thoughts on these products, starting with the foundation. The Uncover Up Cream Foundation. Every time I use this, I don't like how it looks until like I'm done with my makeup. I love it, looks so fresh. I just really wish it didn't have that coconut oil in it. If it didn't, I would really recommend it. If you know coconut oil doesn't break you out, I think you might like this, but personally on me, having more normal to oily skin, it just doesn't wear well. And I don't prefer this under the eyes either. I feel like it just creases a lot. So this like overall is a pass for me unless you have dry skin and you think it'd be something your skin would really like and like you like getting more dewy throughout the day. I would say yes, but overall for me it's a no. RMS Beauty Unpowder. I do like this powder. You know I'm really picky with powders and this one is nice when you use the right amount of it. Like I mentioned, it can take a little bit of coverage away and it just overall can be very matte, so just go light-handed with this. I think this is a pretty good option if you want something very lightweight on the skin. It like really doesn't feel like anything because it is a silica-based powder. So overall, like not the worst powder I've ever tried, not as good as Ilia Soft Focus, but it is one that I occasionally reach for. The RMS Beauty Pressed Blushes. I do really like this formula. I think it looks nice on the cheeks and I appreciate how the shimmer doesn't accentuate texture. It is more of a dry formula and doesn't seem pigmented at first, but once you apply it to the cheeks, it kind of transforms and it's that perfect amount of pigmentation. I didn't like this the first time I tried this, but now that I've played around with it more, I think I really like the tone of it. Very summery. I just feel like whenever I have the foundation and this blush on, I just like, it's such a fresh look that I really like. I think Luminizer I think would be a great highlight for somebody who likes that more dewy look. It really doesn't have a lot of like shimmer in it at all. Like it really has barely any shimmer, like just enough to make it a little bit pearlescent, but it's super natural looking. And I do like this on my cheeks. I'm not a huge cream product person, so this isn't something I reach for over my powder highlights. But again, if you want something that looks more natural and just on that dewy side, as opposed to something that has visible shimmer in it, I think you would enjoy this. I also think if you had textured skin, it doesn't enhance it because, again, it just doesn't have a super metallic finish to it. And then the Tempting Touch Swift eyeshadow. This really surprised me. When you swatch it at first, same thing with the blush, like it doesn't seem that pigmented, but once I put it on my eye, I think the tone and formula of this is really pretty. It was actually pigmented on my eye. This surprised me. I think it's probably my favorite out of the bunch. I'll have to try more of these, and I do want to try the cream shadows as well. I think the tone is gorgeous. It's not too warm. It's more of like a neutral-ish brown, so I think a lot of different eye colors could wear this. So this did impress me today, and again, if you want to get this in the Petit Four box, I will link that below for you guys. That was it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I'd love to hear your thoughts below on RMS, if you've tried anything or your favorites from the brand. Don't forget to subscribe as well if you haven't already. I would love for you to join me. And don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you did enjoy it. It really helped me out. But thank you again for watching. All products will be listed in the description below, and I will see you in my next video.